In a small village, far from the noise of the cities, there lived a young man named Yusuf with his widowed mother in a humble house made of clay and stone. They owned little in this world: a few chickens, a tiny piece of land, and 2 hearts filled with patience. Yusuf was a quiet and hard-working young man. In his eyes lived a great dream. Yet he was surrounded by a world that showed no mercy to the poor. Every morning before dawn, he would wake up, help his mother fetch water, then head to the market searching for any kind of work, carrying boxes, cleaning shops, moving goods, anything for a few coins. Every night, his mother waited for him beside the light of a small candle and said with a smile that hid the fatigue of many years,
"One day, my son, you will become a man everyone is proud of."
Yusuf would smile, though he could see nothing of the future. But the people of the village were not kind. Some mocked him. "Look at Yusuf, dreaming while he cannot even afford proper shoes. This poor boy thinks he will become someone." Yusuf heard them all and stayed silent, because his mother had taught him that the true answer is success, not words. Chapter 1: Leaving Home. One hot summer day, Yusuf returned home with a different look on his face. He said to his mother, "Mother, I am going to the city." The spoon fell from her hand.
"The city? Alone?"
"Yes, there is nothing left for me here. If I stay, I will remain as I am. I want to work, learn, and change our lives." She sat in silence, staring at the wall. Then she said in a trembling voice, "I am afraid for you, Yusuf." He came close and kissed her hand. "And I am afraid to die poor and helpless while you have never known rest." His mother cried for a long time that night. In the morning, she gathered all she had: an old ring, a little money, and a piece of bread. She placed them in a small bag and said, "Take this, and never forget your prayers, and never forget your mother." Yusuf left the house, and every step felt as if it were tearing something from his heart. When he reached the end of the road, he turned around. There stood his mother at the doorway, weaving with a trembling hand. It was the last image of her he would carry with him for many years. Chapter 2: The Cruel City. Yusuf arrived in the great city and quickly discovered that dreams were not easy there. He spent his first week sleeping at the bus station. He worked washing dishes, then carrying cement, then cleaning construction sites. Whenever he earned money, it disappeared into rent and food. He was deceived many times. He was robbed once. He was fired more than once. One night, he sat on the sidewalk and cried for the first time since leaving home. He whispered, "Perhaps they were right. Perhaps I am only a poor man who dreams too much." But then he remembered his mother. He remembered her hand placing bread into the small bag. He stood up and said, "I will not return defeated." Chapter 3: The Beginning of Change. One day, Yusuf was carrying boxes into an old bookstore. The owner noticed the hunger in his eyes as he looked at the books. He asked, "Do you read?" Yusuf answered shyly, "I love reading, but I have never owned books." The man smiled and said, When your work is done, come every night and read. From that night, Yusuf's lives began to change. He worked by day and read by night. He learned mathematics, then business, then management, then languages. Years later, he began helping the bookstore owner with the accounts. Then he became a small partner. Then he opened his first shop, then a second, then a third. People began calling him Mr. Yusuf. The man they once mocked had become successful. Yet, despite all the money, he felt a great emptiness. Whenever he returned to his luxurious home, he remembered the house of clay. Whenever he sat before a grand table of food, he remembered his mother eating dry bread with a smile. Chapter 4. The letter that broke his heart. On a rainy night, a man from his village came to see him. He asked, "Are you Yusuf?" "Yes." The man handed him an old letter wrapped in cloth. He said, "Your mother asked that this be given to you if we ever found you." Yusuf's hands trembled. He opened the letter quickly. The handwriting was weak, the lines uneven.
My son Yusuf, if this letter reaches you, know that I have missed you deeply. I kept telling people that you would return, and I never believed those who said you had forgotten me. I am ill now, but my heart is at peace. I know you are fighting for us. If you return and do not find me, do not cry too much. It is enough for me that I was the mother of a man who tried. Forgive me if I ever failed you, and forgive my coming absence. Your mother, who waits for you every evening."
The letter slipped from his hand. He asked in a choking voice. The man lowered his head. "She passed away 6 months ago." Yusuf froze. He did not cry. He did not speak. He sat on the floor for a long time, as though life had left him. Then suddenly he broke down, weeping like a child. Chapter 5. The return that came too late. The next day, Yusuf left all his business behind and took the first bus to the village. He entered the same route, passed the same markets, reached the old house. The door was broken. The walls were cracked. He entered in silence. In the corner, he found her old chair, her walking stick, her shawl hanging on the wall. He sat there, buried his face in his hand and whispered, "I came back, mother, but too late." He cried until dawn. Chapter 6. The true meaning of success. A few days later, Yusuf gathered the villager and said, "I once thought success was money. I was wrong." He sold a large part of what he owned. Then he built in the village a free school, a small clinic, a water well, a library in his mother's name. At the entrance of the library, he placed a sign that read, "To the woman who believed in me when everyone else laughed." Every child who entered would ask, "Who was this woman?" Yusuf would smile, tears in his eyes, and answered, "The greatest woman I ever knew." Years later, Yusuf passed away loved by all. People did not remember how many shops he owned. They remembered that he was the son of a poor woman who raised a great man. The lesson that we can learn from this story: success without loved ones to celebrate it with you is incomplete. Never delay honoring those who love you. Some apologies arrive too late.
A mother may leave this world, but her prayers remain forever.